Hello, friends. I'm sorry I can't be with you today, but I wanted to record this brief introduction to point slope form so we can just keep up on pace and with what I'm hoping to get done prior to our Thanksgiving break. So, today we are going to start looking at the second of the three forms of linear equations, which is called point slope form, as you can see. And point slope form is based on the equation for slope. You may recall when we talked about slope, I showed you the slope equation. I said it's not something you really need to memorize, as long as you remember change in y over change in x. Okay, and just one of the important things to keep in mind is remembering that change involves subtraction, and that's going to be important a little bit later on, and you'll see. So to get the equation for point slope form, we want to get rid of this fraction here, and one way to get rid of fractions in an equation is multiplying through by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by x minus x1, just like this. And on the right-hand side, those will cancel each other out because x minus x1 over x minus x1 is 1. And so that just leaves us with x minus x1 times the slope equals y minus y1. I'm just going to invert this around to put the y's first and the x's and the m on the right-hand side. And that gives us what's called point slope form of a linear equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So, like slope-intercept form, this tells us a point on the line when you have numbers in place, and it tells us the slope of the line. However, the point is not a specific point, but could be a point anywhere on the line. Slope-intercept form is a very specific point. It's the y-intercept. In this equation, it could be any point on the line. So in its proper form, the number that is in the place of m represents the slope of the line, and the numbers that are in place of x1 and y1 represent a point. Okay, so most of what you're going to be doing today is just getting familiar with this equation, getting familiar with writing this equation, given either a point and a slope or maybe a couple of points. Okay, and then in the online text, if you do that, a couple of equations where you're just doing it from a graph. Okay, but they're all basically involve the same thing. So I'm just going to go through a few examples, and then you'll have the rest of the class time to work on that homework assignment, and so forth. So let's say we want to write the equation of a line that goes through the point 47 and has a slope of 2/3. Okay, well, what you've got to do is you've got to plug in the point 47 for x1, y1, and you got to plug in 2/3 for slope, m. Okay, I think I started this by putting in the point 4 in place of x1 and 7 in place of y1. And notice that gives me y minus 7 equals m times x minus 4. Okay, so remember, when you're subtracting 4 in this equation, that means the point is positive 4. And you're subtracting 7, it's positive 7. Because it's based on the equation for slope, which is based on a change or a difference, it is what you are subtracting. Okay, so 0.47 becomes x minus 4 and y minus 7. And the last thing I want to do is put in 2/3 in place of slope. And the slope of the line that goes through 47 with a slope of 2/3 is y minus 7 equals 2/3 x minus 4. And that's it. That's all you really need to do to write that equation in point slope form. Okay, and once again, to specify the difference, notice the next problem, which I've already done for you, but it says write the equation of a line that goes through negative 3, 5 and has a slope 4. Well, x is negative 3. If you think about over here, that should be x minus x1. So it'd be x minus negative 3. And remember, when you subtract the negative, it's the same as adding the positive, so that changes to x plus 3. Do not write x minus negative 3. It is okay to change that to x plus 3. Likewise, as this was negative 5, then you'd write y plus 5, and of course the slope is 4. Okay. So most of what you're doing today, whether it's on IXL or Savas, is going to be doing that. So, for example, I'm going to show you the Savas assignment. Okay, the first 6 problems, I believe, out of the 8 is right in point slope form. Okay, so this one here, point slope form again is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And the point is 4.16.7, so 4.1 I'm going to put in place of x1. 6.7 is going to go in place of y1. And 5.4 is my slope. There's the equation. I'll check my answer, and that should look good. Okay. So on IXL, I'm going to pause this for a moment so I can load IXL. So the IXL assignment starts off just like the assignment in Savas Realize. It gives you a point on the line and a slope, and you just type in the equation. So it's y minus, the y value is 8, equals the slope is negative 3 times x minus 4. And it's fairly as straightforward as that. Okay. Remember now with negatives, you have to be a little careful. So y minus 5 equals 1/7. I'm going to use a fraction. X minus negative 5, x minus negative 5. I don't write minus negative 5. I just do x plus 5 because subtracting 5. What I'm subtracting is negative 5. So subtracting negative 5 is the same as adding 5. Okay. On IXL, it does get a little more challenging. Once you hit around 0.60, it gives you 2 points. Well, the only difference now is you've got to actually calculate the slope. You can choose either of these 2 points, but you've got to calculate the slope. So I'm going to choose this first point. I'm going to start with y minus negative 8, which is y plus 8, equals now my slope, change in y over change in x. So let's see, negative 8 minus a negative 4 is negative 8 plus 4, which is negative 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So my slope is negative 4. Negative 4 over 1 is negative 4. X minus 5. And that should be right. One way I can check to see if it's right is plug in this point. If I plug in the other point and it works, it's right. Let's see. Negative 4 plus 8 is negative 4. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. It's positive 4. And there we go. It is right. So it works out. So that's the IXL assignment. The last 2 questions on Savas Realize actually gives you a graph and says write the equation. So I'm just going to pull something up so I can type. So there's just a little sticky note here with the equation. Okay, and again, just like anything else, I just have to plug in a point, and I just have to plug in the slope. Now the point is easy to identify. It's negative 3.7. So y minus 7 equals slope times x minus negative 3 becomes x plus 3. And now I need to calculate the slope. So let's see, from this point, it goes up 1 over 2. Rise of 1, run of 2 means it's got a slope of 1/2. 5 minus 7 equals 1/2 times x plus 3, which we can see over here is exactly what it is. Okay, so your assignment is either the IXL or Savas Realize. You've got plenty of class time to get it done and get it done well. If you have questions, seek a friend. You've got all the class time, so I'm expecting quality, not just quantity. I'm expecting quality with this work. If you're not sure why something's wrong, ask somebody. See if you guys can work it out and figure out what you're doing wrong. Then try a similar problem and get it done. Hope you have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.